Well, a stunning comeback by Lahore Qalandars indeed. When you look at the way they started this tournament, it's been quite a comeback by them in this HBL PSL 10, courtesy this man Fakhar Zaman. Hello and welcome to Pitchside. What a win by Lahore Qalandars is exactly what they wanted in this tournament, getting those points on the board and of course getting that confidence up as well. Quick look at the match summary to remind all of you in terms of what happened. And just a quick look in terms of if you guys have just tuned in, then this is what happened. Lahore Qalandars made 219 for 6 in their 20 overs. Fakhar Zaman at the top with that blistering knock of 67 in 39 balls. And Sam Billings making 50 of just 19 balls. Really added to that total. In response, Quetta Gladiators had no real answers. They were bowled out for 140. Riley Russo was their top scorer, and all the bowlers chipped in. Shaheen Shah Afridi taking wickets at the top. Rashad Hussain has been a great inclusion. Remember, he's come in as a replacement for Rashid Khan. He took 3 wickets and Qalandars won this game by 79 runs. Alright, this is how things stand at this point of time. Qalandars are now leading the charts thanks to that net run rate, 1.437. But they've got points on the board. They've won this game and lost the previous one and are at the top of the table. Remember, the top 4 teams will be qualifying for the playoffs. Well, great win by Lahore Qalandars, and talk about this win, this wonderful win by them, a much needed win for Lahore Qalandars. I've got a very, very special guest here who really sort of changed things for them. It was perhaps the turning point of the game for Lahore Qalandars because that's exactly the kind of finish that they wanted. Sam Billings joins us alongside Amir Sohail. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Sam, great win for Lahore Qalandars. I'll come to your personal performance, but just overall, talk about the significance of this win today.
Yeah, it's big. Obviously a tough start, as you alluded to, and yeah, a lot of confidence as a group as well. I thought, you know, a bit that will probably go under the radar a little bit. I thought our fielding was excellent. Our catching under these lights was incredible. So that tells me as an attitude, as a team, we're really switched on, and that's something that we probably lacked in that first game. But look, it was a real team performance. Everyone stood up at different points in time, and it's great to see, you know, Rashad to come in and take some wickets. I think wrist spin in this format of the game is something that you need, every team needs. So it was great to see the young man do really well today.
Absolutely. I mean, you spoke about, you know, Rashad coming in later on taking wickets, but your innings at that point was the real difference because this is a Pindi wicket. We know how it plays, you know, lots and lots of runs. What kind of approach did you come in with? It was evident, but did you have a clear plan of how you're going to be targeting specific bowlers?
Yeah, I think you have to have an idea, but look, after the first game where it didn't quite go to plan, I think still here you can give yourself a chance as well. You can give yourself a couple of balls and not try and overhit the ball. So I was just trying to hit good shots. You know, even along the ground, you get such good value for your shots here. So look, it was good to take a little bit of time and then pick your bowlers to really put under pressure. And yeah, thankfully it was my day today.
Amir, exactly the kind of win Lahore Qalandars would have wanted. I'm sure their fans are really relieved as well because we've seen Qalandars are a bit mercurial. You know, sometimes they're really good and sometimes not so good, but today was one of the good days.
Yeah, today what really made difference for Lahore, they prepared well for this game and they had a method to their play, and the attitude was there as well, and everybody knew their role. And if I have to ascribe, yeah, we've spoken about Sam Billing, but who really set it up for Sam Billing was Fakhar Zaman. He actually played away from his natural game. He took the responsibility, he was looking for a boundary in the over, and after that he was scoring singles. That's not Fakhar Zaman that I know, but it's refreshing to see taking the responsibility and doing a wonderful job for his side.
Well, Sam Billings took the responsibility of hitting those monstrous sixes. Let's have a look at the super sixes of today.
Yeah, we saw plenty of sixes in this innings, didn't we? I would actually like to ask Billings, what is the key for this power hitting? Go on, Sam.
Well, I think certainly you look at the best players in the world.
Sorry, we're just rolling out your innings so that you can come and really talk about your sixes. Go on then, continue, please.
No, I think, you know, certainly if you're not one of the big West Indian guys who are 6'5" and massive, I think timing is so key. And certainly when I'm playing badly is when I'm trying to hit the ball too hard and losing my kind of back leg. You look at people like Heinrich Klaasen or Nicholas Puran, the best players in the world, they hit off this back leg so well and they keep it rooted into the ground. So that's something I've been working on, not letting my hands get out in front of myself and yeah, working on that foundation. So today, especially on a good wicket, not trying to overhit the ball, you know that if you get into a good position, the ball will sail here. So that was something I was focusing on.
And that's, you know, you're trying to tell us with keeping your back leg, you get your hips into the play?
Yeah, you keep it rooted, and so they don't come through the ball too early, sorry. And it was quite funny because obviously play a lot against these guys, especially Amir, and he got me out in the ILT 20 final with a bouncer, so I knew he was going to try it again today. So it was nice to get a little bit of comeback from him.
You've also made some kind of an adjustment in terms of your stance with your batting. I mean, just talk us through that. I mean, what's the little change that you've made?
Yeah, so I used to have my bat up in the air, and now it's just kind of resting on the ground. So I'm in a really still position at the point of release, and you know, it just actually delays my hands. I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but keeping my hands there, which allows me to kind of use my quick hands and not get out in front of myself. So it just helps with my timing, I think, and certainly not trying to overhit the ball.
All right. From a Qalandars perspective, you know, you lost the first game, have come back in this one. Shaheen Shah Afridi's role as a captain, you know, when you lose the first game of the tournament, I mean, what was his message to all of you when coming into this game?
Yeah, keep it very simple. I think you look at the quality in the side. We've got a lot of experience, but we've got a lot of quality in all different areas. So, you know, it's actually trying to simplify things, especially, you know, someone of his quality. You know that actually, I think that first game he was trying probably too hard. You know what a superstar he is. He's trying to get those early wickets, but I think naturally, with his natural skill, if he keeps it really simple, he's such a threat anyway. So he's one of those players that actually doesn't need to give people the opportunity to score. If he just hits a length, his skill will take over. So I think that was the message, not only him, but to the rest of the group, was to keep it nice and simple. Like you said about Fucker, you know, building an innings and actually getting a foundation to allow, you know, the middle order to really crack on as well. So you talk about method, that was kind of a blueprint for us today.
Absolutely. You know, it was important for them to win, Amir, and also important for Fakhr to get those runs because he's coming back after an injury. He hasn't really played cricket for a while, but it seemed like he pretty much started off from where he left.
You know, we all know Fakhr is a dynamic batter to watch. You know, he's got all the skills in the world, all the talent in the world. It's just the method at times he lacks. But tonight, this evening, he was absolutely phenomenal. You know, he had a clear-cut plan for himself, and he said, okay, I'm going to be there for my side for at least 15 overs, and I'm going to set it up for players like him, Raza, and a few others to come and take on the bowlers. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, looking ahead, Sam, it's really important in a tournament to continue that kind of momentum that you get. I mean, how does one go about that? I mean, when you won first game, you won the first game of the tournament, and you're coming into the next one. Sometimes it often happens that there's a sense of a complacency as well. You see in some teams that, you know, you won the first game. How do you keep that intensity going?
I think it's natural. You know, we're all professional and played a lot of cricket now, and you don't take it for granted at all. We have to adapt. I think that's the beauty of this competition, is the variety of conditions. So we go to Karachi tomorrow. So again, we'll have to adapt. They played really well in their first game. They've got a quality side. So again, the challenges that possesses, we have to adapt as a team. And then obviously on to Multan and then back to Lahore, where we know conditions really well. But hopefully the next couple of games, you get a couple of wins away from home. I think it sets up the tournament beautifully for us. So yeah, really looking forward to the game in a couple of days.
All right, thank you so much for your thoughts, Sam. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. And like I said, phenomenal win for phenomenal start after that loss for Lahore Qalandars. And I'm sure the Lahore fans are really, really happy today as well. We take a short breather on Pitside. Be back with another guest, Lisa Sthalekar. Back on pitch side, and huge congratulations to Lahore Qalandars for their fantastic win in the HBL PSL Season 10. And now I've been joined by Lisa Sthalekar on pitch side. Lisa, great win for Qalandars. Like I said, the fans of Lahore will be extremely happy today because they didn't start off well and they've redeemed themselves and redeemed themselves in great fashion because this was a, emphatic win.
Yeah, I mean, when you don't win your first one, you kind of get a little bit nervous. You're like, where's our next win coming? They didn't have to wait too long. They were able to do it tonight. And like you said, emphatic position. And they put themselves at the top of the table. That's how close all of the teams are with, 4 out of the 6 on 2 points. So it's very important to kind of stay with those top teams. You don't want to be languishing at the bottom, especially early on in the tournament.
Absolutely. And I think in terms of, just getting those that confidence on board, that's what they got from this win. Lahore Qalandars, now we had plenty of refreshing moments today. One of them being that Raza catch when Mitchell dived out of the way. Let's have a look at it.
Yeah, it was a really important catch simply because you had Daryl Mitchell as well and you needed some experienced player out there. Sikandar Raza was always easier for him to track that ball and to take it. Just have a look at Daryl Mitchell. He's looking at the ball and then heard the call at that last minute and got out of the way.
Well, the man who really set it up for Lahore Qalandars was the man at the top, Fakhar Zaman, recovering after an injury and playing that blistering knock. He's also our man of the match for today.
Yeah, talking about Fakhar Zaman, he was dialed in from the word go. Yeah, he knew how to take on the ballers. He was prepared to take few risks and he was rewarded. And then, in the middle, he played with a measured approach, kept on driving the innings, set it up for his teammate, Sam Billings. And in the end, because of this effort, they were able to put a big total on the board.
Well, it was important for Lahore Qalandars to be having somebody on the other end as well scoring runs. I mean, Fakhar Zaman scored a great knock today, but there's one man who seems to be gaining confidence and rhythm. He's been struggling off late in international cricket, but not to be in this tournament so far. Abdullah Shafiq has been timing it beautifully. Let's have a look at some of his boundaries.
Yeah, you're right. Abdullah Shafiq, 37 off 21 deliveries, 6 boundaries as well. I like how he was able to move around the crease. Obviously, when the ball was a little bit short, he put it away. But there's that inventiveness that we like, which you need to have if you're going to be successful in T20 cricket.
From a Quetta Gladiators perspective, though, I mean, there's a lot to reflect on because they're a team who look good on paper. And South Shakil, their captain Lisa, he spoke about in the post-match about how the bowlers were unable to execute their plans, in particular their spinners, because they're a team that relies heavily on spin. I mean, they've got so many options in the form of Shoaib Malik and Usman Tariq, Abrar Ahmed. But what do you think? Where do you think they were lacking today?
Yeah, it's a tough one because they have had so much success, haven't they, in last year? I think, over 40 wickets their spinners picked up in the HBL PSL. But when you come up against a player like Fakhar Zaman, and I'll single him out, he was able to actually, the impact, he was able to hit the ball down the ground and leave his crease. Now, when a player can go deep and when they can go out in front, then as a bowler, where are you going to bowl the ball? You can't kind of get into a bit of a rhythm and a zone. So I think Fakhar Zaman did very well to negate how effective the Gladiator spinners have been in the past.
Fahim Ashraf slightly on the expensive side today as well, Amir. I mean, uh, overall, if their bowling unit was not the same in terms of their plans as we saw in that previous game. Perhaps a thing to look at going ahead, because as you go deeper into this tournament, you're going to cover all weaknesses.
I think they have to learn how to use Fahim Ashraf. You know, he hasn't got that pace to bowl back of the length on a surface like this. And then he bats at number 8. You know, there can be a better utilization as far as Fahim Ashraf is concerned. You have to give him a plan. You have to ask him to bowl wide of the stumps to be able to meet some success. I think he hasn't been used properly.
All right. From a Lahore Qalandars perspective, Shaheen Shah Afridi getting those early wickets was extremely crucial, because we spoke about the fact that he's again somebody who's been struggling. His recent form has not been great. Economy rate has been really high, touching 9 and 10. But today, he understood the assignment, as you call it.
Yeah, he did. And I think you're right. There is so much pressure, isn't there, when they kind of play at an international stage. Whereas here, it's the comfort of home, playing with very similar mates that they've probably grown up with as well. But he has to lead from the front. And it was great to see him be able to strike straight away in that first over, which we've known and love him to do on regular occasions. So I think once he got that first wicket, he seemed like he was coming in with a bit more rhythm. He wasn't trying to bowl too quick. You talk about Sam Billings and players trying to not lose their shape and trying to hit the ball too hard. Same thing can apply from a bowling point of view.
Yeah, Amit, the one thing that everybody talks about when it comes to Shaheen is his length, really. And today we saw that he was bang on the money from the word go when he was bowling out there in these conditions.
And he was getting the ball to jag back to the right-handers. That's his strength. And then he bowled that bouncer, which is, for me, very courageous. And, you know, to be able to do those things in the first over, bouncer, in-swingers, and a slow one, I think it augurs well for Lahore Qalandar, because for a captain not to be consumed by the thoughts where he's thinking about his own performances. You know, once he starts to feel good about his own form, then he will think about the well-being of the entire side. And that augurs well as far as I'm concerned with Shaheen Shah Afridi.
Absolutely augurs well for Lahore Qalandars as well. Thank you so much for your thoughts. And we'll be taking a short breather. We'll be back on pitch side in just a bit. So don't go anywhere. Back on pitch side, and I've been joined by a set of new guests. Bazid Khan and Dominic Coke join me with really high energy to talk about today's game. Both of them really looking forward to really dissecting this match. Huge smiles on their face as well. This is what we want on pitch side. Lots of energy overall as well. But I think what we needed was more energy from Quetta Gladiators today. They lost their wickets. Let's have a look at their wickets, fall of wickets, quickly before we move on to the other things.
Shaheen Shah Afridi set the tone. First over, back of a length. Got the captain, then Asif Afridi again, drawing the batter forward. It was brilliant. The slow one, probably the turning point of the game, with Finn Allen departing without scoring much. Good catch. They were on song in the field too there. Short of length again, Haris Rauf, quick pace. It was Sam Billings who redeemed himself. And then the googly, the leg spinner in the mix. They missed Rashid Khan last year. They got a leg spinner in the mix. Qalandars are very happy to dismiss someone from his hometown, Sialkot. And then this was a fabulous catch. At one stage, it looked as if Shaheen had messed it up, but today it was all Qalandars. Nothing was going wrong. Leg spinner again. The benefit of having a specialist spinner in between the spaces is so important. Brar couldn't believe his luck. He thought he'd smashed that for 6, but it was a long boundary. He's still standing around. And then the Yorker that ended it all.
Well, there was one guy who dominated the show for Quetta Gladiators in that previous game. Finn Allen really took the game away, but not the case today. I mean, perhaps that was the moment that changed things for Lahore Qalandars. His wicket was always going to be crucial. Finn Allen's wicket is the turning point of the game for us today.
Yeah, it was really good because the first ball you don't see is this bouncer. Straight away they went at Finn Allen. This was pace off then, and you could see it set the tone. And I said on commentary, back at the man's innings, and that little performance from the captain, to me, that is the turning point, but brilliant from the two senior players. Absolutely brilliant and great catch by Daryl Mitchell.
Yeah, things seem to be working well overall for Lahore Qalandars, in particular the way Fakhar Zaman batted. That was something which was going to be extremely crucial. We spoke about that, Bazit, earlier on as well, that his role, we've seen in matches that Lahore Qalandars have won, the impact that he has. Almost every time he scores, Qalandars ends up winning. I mean, he's always been considered that impact player. Also, the fact that he's coming back after an injury, but clearly his game hasn't been affected by that. What do you think in terms of his significance for Qalandars in the last few years that we've seen?
Look, the two times that they won the HBL PSL, it is down to Fakhar Zaman's runs at the top of the innings. He got over 500 in one edition and over 400 in the other. So his runs are so important to set the tone. And today at the post-match, he was talking about he still doesn't think he's in full rhythm, and he gave himself a little bit of time because of the fact that on the other end batters were quite explosive, and then he had a plan against the spinners. He had planned out that Quetta Gladiators are a spin heavy unit and their strength lies in their spinners, so he made sure that he hit it through the offside. So we talk about his power hitting, we talk about his strength, but behind all that there's a method. So like Koki in commentary, we talk about his energy, but behind that there's a little bit of a method, isn't it?
Try to be a bit of a method, not as much as Frank. Thank you very much, Bazzi, for trying to put me in that. But, he got player of the match. Now, it would have been easy to give it Sam Billings because of the fact that Sam Billings came in and finished the innings off. But I think you want your senior player to lead the team. After a disappointing opening game, Fakhar Zaman really needed to stand up and say, this is me. And even though he said in the post-match with you that he's still not hit his straps, that's why for me he was player of the match, because he set the innings up lovely. Brilliant from Sam Billings, who sat here. That's what Billings does really well, but you still need to have the foundation to then that middle order go. Mitchell came and did well, and then Billings saw them get to 200.
Yeah, but Sam Billings was so impactful.
Absolutely. Thank you for telling me that, Bazzi.
What's the joke here then? What's the inside joke? Our viewers didn't get what you're talking about.
No. It's just Bazzi. It's just always on at me. I think what we try to do, we try to enjoy ourselves when we're in commentary, and that's what we're like. We're like what, Batman and Robin. I don't know which one you are, but I know
Batman,
which one I am.
obviously
Well, I'm waiting for the time that you can call a super over, because you two, whenever you two are on, there's always the chance around to have a super over. But just on Fakhar Zaman, I know we're talking a lot about him, Baz, but what do you think stands out as a batter about him? Because he's not considered somebody who's the most technically apt, technically correct batsman out there. But what do you think is his strength as a batter?
Look, it is a cliche. It is talked about a lot, but he has this self-belief. He has this sort of inner confidence that whatever my technique is, wherever I play, I'll take you down. I'll smash you, and that's the attitude that he has against most bowling, and that's why he's so impactful. That's why I think we go back to that innings against India. That was such a huge turning point for his career to develop. If he hadn't got runs there, who knows where he would have been. But that particular innings, he got luck and then got runs, but that sort of allowed him to just flourish that way. Pakistan overall, if you look at Pakistan overall, very few players are allowed a long leash when they're not technically sort of pleasing to the eye. But he's one of those guys who's got through because of the fact that he's so impactful. I think you look at other players, the one that comes to mind straight away is Fawad Alam, and whenever Fawad Alam didn't get runs, it was all about how he stands.
Technique, yeah.
So in that way, Fakhar Zaman has broken the mold.
Russell Domingo needs to talk to Fakhar and say, that's the way you play. Give yourself an opportunity to get runs. It's great if he comes in and hits that second ball. I always see him having a big flirt at that second ball. Give yourself a bit of time. If I'm coach of the Qalandars, I'm saying, if you're in the 15th over, we're in good shape. Unless, obviously, you've collapsed at the other end, we're in good shape. Give yourself, think of Chris Gale. Chris Gale never worried if he just tapped back, you know, an over. He never worried about it because he backed himself to actually then increase and get that strike rate up. So that's what I was saying to Fakhar Zaman. That innings today was perfect. More of that, and we'll be in them playoffs at the end.
Well, that's the top order sorted, but then you've got somebody like Daryl Mitchell lower down the order, who also got some runs today. Didn't get runs in the previous game, but really sort of it augurs well for Lahore Qalandars if they've got somebody like Mitchell going.
Because again, it's down to that start, and that start, then it opens up that middle order, and then that powerful middle order with Daryl Mitchell, Billings, and Sikandar Raza. Mitchell is a fine player, loves batting here in Pakistan. I think he's got 2 one-day international hundreds and 2 50s for New Zealand, and he can take games away from him. So they're a dangerous side as long as I think the 2 senior players turn up. One's Fakhar, the other one is Shaheen Shah Afridi.
And if you go back to the draft, I think Lahore Qalandars had first pick. They could have got Warner, but they wanted a middle order player who could stabilize that middle order, and that is Daryl Mitchell's role. Yes, he gets a lot of runs in Pakistan, very good in Pakistan, but his role will be, if there's wickets up front, then he can sort of build in innings. Even if there's not wickets up front and they get a fast start, he still will come in and make sure that Lahore Qalandars don't implode. They bat the 20 overs. Today's innings, you wouldn't say it was a classic Daryl Mitchell innings, but he made sure that they went into the 18th over with wickets in hand. You don't want Qalandars collapsing, which they have done for a few times in the previous season.
Absolutely, that was a great pick, because if you look at that top order, they've definitely got many options to open or have in the top 3. Even Sam Billings, we've seen, can bat up the order as well. So great addition to that side, Lahore Qalandars. Sam Billings, certainly things worked well for them. We'll take a short breather. Be back just in a bit. Well, what a win for Lahore Qalandars, and getting those 2 points on that HBL PSL 10 table. They made 219 in their 20 overs. Fakhar Zaman really sort of kick-starting things with that 67, and Sam Billings with that 50 of 19, really making things easy for the Qalandars. Quetta Gladiators had no real answers. They were bowled out for 140. Rashad Hussain has been a great addition in the absence of Rashid Khan, taking 3 wickets. Shaheen also amongst the wickets, which was extremely important for them. In the end, it was a comfortable win by 79 runs. This is what the table looks like. Lahore Qalandars suddenly have basically risen to the top because of that net run rate. 1.437 is what they have, and they lost their previous game. They've got Islamabad United below. Karachi Kings, what a win it was for them yesterday. So it's getting interesting. Obviously early days for the HBL PSL. Remember, the top 4 teams will be playing in the playoffs. It was always going to be a real test of leadership for Shaheen Shah Afridi after they lost their first game, but he was right on the money today in every department, with his bowling as well as his catching as well. He took the stumbling catch, which features in our safe hands for today.
Yeah, it's a good catch because he's got to get in position. It's go up and over, get his eyes level, get his hands high. Lost the top. Fielded as a collective so much better. This is happening from the captain, and if they're going to get through to them playoffs, they'll need more catches like that.
like I said, Qalandars have started off things well. Peshawar Zalmi is a team that is yet to get off the mark, and they will be featuring in tomorrow's game. We've got another match lined up for you in this HBL PSL 10. Like I said, the action continues every day. It's back-to-back entertainment lined up, and the Zalmi fans will be hoping that they register those 2 points. They're up against Islamabad United. It's Shadab Khan versus Babar Azam. Lots of fans of Babar Azam. They always show up in great numbers as well. But it's going to be extremely crucial for them to win. And they are up against a very talented Islamabad United side. Bazid, from a Zalmi perspective, their bowling was not particularly impressive in the previous game. And that's an area that perhaps they will have to work on. When you talk about all the teams, which teams do you think are looking strong to you at this point? Early days, I know it's premature, but at least you've got a feel of, okay, this team is looking good on paper.
Look, Islamabad United, since the pick, I thought that they'd have a wonderful unit anyway. You look at the way that Quetta Gladiators played in the first game. So I think this is the first actual HBL PSL where all 6 teams look very close. It's not as if you can single out or pick out 2 teams which aren't brilliant. I think.
Always love
well, I was
sitting
just
on
going
the
to say,
fence,
he just sits on the
Corky.
fence, Baz.
Always sits on the fence.
All our viewers here want you to give you an
I
give
mean,
an
I was
answer.
looking for
just
a
give an
real
answer. Well, all 6
Baz.
teams have got a chance. Bazid Khan, brilliant.
That's true.
Who do you think is going to win the competition?
All
Come on,
6
from
teams.
here. Give me one team.
One team.
One team.
Straight away.
Yes.
So I'll go Islam.
He's still thinking.
Wait. I'll go Islamabad United. Thank you very much.
Good night. Thank you and good night. It's the mic drop from Bazid Khan.
That's it.
Very
All
good.
right,
Given
mic
the
drop
answer,
moment.
Nobody wants to watch
That's
Very good.
show anymore because that's it.
That's it. Very good. I think you've got a good. I think it's a good choice, by the way. I think Islamabad United are up there.
Basically,
they've got a
Baz
very
is
good.
backing them to win for the 4th time in
Yep.
the HBL PSL history.
Yep.
So
I think they've got the most balanced squad. He's right. I thought they were excellent in the draft. Mike Hessen is very good. I think the Gladiators are decent, even though they've lost. He's right. Everybody's got a chance. But if you're going to nail, your position like you've just done, I think is excellent. I'm not going to go with him. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
This is one for you.
Yeah.
Karachi Kings. James
Karachi
Vince
King.
yesterday, magnificent.
We all love it when our experts, just 3rd day into the tournament, call out all the teams that they're rooting for, who they think they're going to be they think will win. But not a bad, we could have an expert prediction early on like that. Baz, Peshawar Zalmi,
Now Peshawar Zalmi going to win tomorrow. Win big.
Are you picking them as well? Brilliant.
Peshawar Zalmi, exactly. Everything just goes the other way around. But Peshawar Zalmi, Saim Ayub scoring some runs in that game for them. Bowling-wise, do you think it's a concern?
There is a concern. I think they weren't consistent enough with the pitch conditions. Now that they've played a game in Pindi, I think like Lahore Qalandars, they need to shorten their length and make sure they hit back of a length more often than not. I think they will have learned from the first game like Lahore Qalandars did. I think also they're looking at the top of the order. I think the batting, obviously Babar following in the first over, but the batting did not click as they wanted to. I think tomorrow they'll probably be a better side because of the fact that the first game out of the way, but later tonight, not tomorrow, later tonight, they'll probably come back with better plans and better execution.
I think Baz thought he's having an off day because he said we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
Whereas actually we'll be seeing everyone in just a couple of hours because we're coming for the game. Shadab Khan versus Babar Azam. It's always going to be high energy encounter. It's the home team against the home team, because you've got so many fans of both the sides that come to Rawalpindi to support their respective stars and players, and it's going to be later here tonight at 7:50 p.m. from Rawalpindi. All right, thank you so much, gentlemen, Baz as well as Koki. It's been fabulous having you as always on Pitchside. I hope you guys enjoyed today's coverage as well. It was definitely a great win for Lahore Qalandars, and I'm sure the fans would be mighty relieved. The action continues tomorrow, but that's all that we have for you from here. Until next time, it's goodbye.